Have you ever wondered why some people seem to achieve success effortlessly while others struggle no matter how hard they try? The secret often lies not in talent or luck, but in daily habits. In change your habits and your life will change. We explore how small, consistent actions can transform your mindset, boost productivity, and unlock your full potential. Whether you're trying to break bad routines or build better ones, this video will guide you step by step toward meaningful, lasting change. If you're ready to stop surviving and start thriving, this is the perfect place to begin. One of the most powerful yet overlooked truths about human behavior is this: your habits are a reflection of who you believe you are. Every action you take casts a vote for the type of person you want to become. That's why changing your habits isn't just about willpower or discipline, it's about identity transformation. Let's start with a simple example. Imagine someone who wants to quit smoking. There's a huge difference between two responses to the offer of a cigarette. One person says, "No thanks, I'm trying to quit." Another says, "No thanks, I'm not a smoker." The first person still identifies as a smoker trying to change. The second person has already embraced a new identity. This subtle shift in wording reflects a major difference in mindset and ultimately success. When you build habits that align with your desired identity, you reinforce that identity every time you act. If you want to become a reader, reading just one page a day begins to shift how you see yourself. Suddenly, you're not someone who wants to read more. You are a reader. This shift doesn't require dramatic actions or overnight changes. Instead, it's about building a consistent pattern of behavior that confirms the kind of person you want to be. James Clear, author of Atomic Habits, highlights this concept beautifully with his identity-based habit model. He explains that there are 3 layers of behavior change: outcomes, what you want to achieve, e.g., losing weight; processes, what you do to achieve it, e.g., exercising and eating healthy; identity, what you believe about yourself, e.g., I am a healthy person. Most people start with outcome-based goals, which often lead to short-term motivation but long-term inconsistency. Why? Because they haven't changed the belief underneath the behavior. Identity-based habits, on the other hand, start with the person you want to become. Once you believe you're someone who prioritizes health, for example, the actions that support that identity, working out, eating clean, sleeping early, become more natural and sustainable. This also explains why bad habits are so hard to break. You're not just quitting a behavior, you're letting go of an identity. A person who's been the life of the party for years may struggle to stop drinking because their sense of self is tied to being fun and outgoing in social settings. To change, they have to reimagine who they are without that habit. That can be uncomfortable but ultimately freeing. So how can you apply this in your own life? Start by defining the kind of person you want to become. Instead of saying, "I want to lose 10 pounds, say, "I want to be someone who never misses a workout." Instead of "I want to write a book," say, "I am a writer." Then ask yourself, what would a writer do today, and act accordingly. Even the smallest actions, a paragraph written, a healthy meal prepared, a phone left untouched, help to align your behavior with your ideal identity. The real change comes when the habit is no longer something you do, but something that expresses who you are. That's the key to deep, lasting transformation. When you change your habits, you change your actions. But when your habits reflect your identity, you change your life from the inside out. In short, who you are becoming is shaped by what you repeatedly do. Change your habits, and you'll watch your entire self-image and life transform. We often believe that big life changes require big actions. It's a common mindset. To transform your life, you need to overhaul your routine. Start waking up at 4 a.m., follow strict diets, or jump into extreme discipline. But the truth is much simpler and far more sustainable. Real transformation happens through small, consistent changes repeated over time. It's not about intensity, it's about consistency. This idea is often described using the concept of the power of 1% improvement. Imagine improving by just 1% every single day. It seems insignificant in the moment, barely noticeable even. But over the course of a year, that 1% daily improvement compounds. Just like money earning interest in a bank, the effects of small habits multiply over time. A 1% improvement each day for a year leads to a 37x improvement by the end of the year. That's the power of compounding in action, not just in finance, but in your health, mindset, productivity, and habits. Let's take a practical example. Imagine you want to get in shape. You might be tempted to go all in, join a gym, work out for 2 hours a day, overhaul your entire diet. That kind of extreme action can work, but it rarely lasts. You burn out, miss a few days, feel guilty, and give up. Now contrast that with doing 15 minutes of exercise every morning. That might seem small or even pointless at first. But over time, you get stronger, build consistency, and develop a routine that lasts. After a few months, those small workouts become a part of your identity, and your body reflects it. This principle doesn't just apply to physical goals. Let's say you want to read more. Instead of aiming for a book a week, what if you committed to just 2 pages per night? That's manageable, even on your busiest days. Over time, you finish books, your knowledge grows. Your thinking evolves, all because you made a tiny habit stick. Another example, if you want to save money, don't wait until you have a large sum. Start with just a few coins or bills a day. It builds the habit of saving. Eventually, that habit will grow stronger, and your contributions will grow too. What matters most is the habit, not the size of each action. The beauty of small habits is that they are easy to do, and easy not to do. That's where most people fail. Skipping a single workout or cheat meal won't destroy your progress, but skipping consistently will. Likewise, doing just a little every day doesn't seem like much, but over time it becomes everything. Your life today is the result of the habits you practiced yesterday. Your future life depends on the habits you build today. This concept is sometimes called the slight edge, popularized by author Jeff Olson. He explains how the small choices we make every day compound over time, either leading us toward success or quietly steering us toward failure. These choices don't feel significant in the moment, but they're always shaping our path. The key is patience and trust. You may not see dramatic results in a week or even a month, but stick with it, and one day you'll wake up realizing how far you've come. Most people give up not because change is impossible, but because they expected immediate results from long-term processes. So if you want to change your life, don't start with a complete overhaul. Start with one tiny step, then take another and another. Build momentum. Let the process compound. Because in the end, it's the small changes, the invisible victories, that create massive, visible transformation. When it comes to changing your habits, most people focus solely on motivation or willpower. But one of the most overlooked and most powerful factors in habit formation is your environment. In fact, your surroundings can either support your goals or silently sabotage them. If you want to build better habits, it's time to look around you, not just within you. Your environment includes everything from the physical space around you, your home, workplace, bedroom, kitchen, to the people you interact with daily. Every element in that space sends subtle cues that either encourage or discourage certain behaviors. These cues are often invisible, but they play a major role in shaping your routine. Think about this. If you walk into your kitchen and the first thing you see is a bowl of fresh fruit, you're far more likely to grab an apple than a cookie. But if the first thing you see is a jar of chocolate or chips, your choices shift. The environment is guiding your decision before you even realize it. This is called cue-based behavior, and it's the foundation of most habits. Let's break this down with a few real-life scenarios. If your phone is always within reach, you'll instinctively check it, whether or not you need to. If your gym clothes are packed and ready by the door, you're more likely to follow through with your workout. If your workspace is cluttered and chaotic, it becomes harder to focus and easier to procrastinate. If you surround yourself with friends who prioritize health, you'll feel encouraged to eat better and move more. The idea here is simple. Make the cues for good habits obvious and accessible, and make the cues for bad habits invisible or harder to reach. James Clear, in his best-selling book Atomic Habits, calls this designing your environment for success. Instead of relying on motivation, an emotion that comes and goes, you rely on structure. You automate good choices by building them into your surroundings. Here's how you can use this principle in daily life. Make good habits convenient. Want to read more? Keep a book on your bed or desk. Want to drink more water? Place a water bottle next to your laptop. Make the desired action as frictionless as possible. Make bad habits inconvenient, trying to cut screen time. Move distracting apps off your home screen. Want to reduce junk food? Don't buy it, or store it out of sight, like the back of a pantry or a high cabinet. Use visual cues. Lay out your workout clothes the night before. Use sticky notes with reminders. Keep your goals where you can see them daily, on your mirror, fridge, or phone background. Restructure social environments. Who you spend time with matters. If your friends encourage laziness, negativity, or bad habits, it's harder to break free. Seek out people and communities who share your values and goals. Declutter and organize. A messy environment often leads to a messy mind. Tidying your space can significantly improve your focus, mental clarity, and motivation. Remember, your environment is like silent programming. It shapes your behavior even when you're not aware of it. If you want to eat better, sleep better, study harder, or create more, design a space that nudges you in that direction. You don't need to be stronger. You just need to be smarter about what surrounds you. In the end, lasting habit change doesn't start with willpower. It starts with architecture. Design your environment to make good choices easier, and success becomes almost automatic. We've all felt that rush of motivation, a new week, a fresh goal, a surge of inspiration from a video, book, or quote. In that moment, we believe we can do anything. Hit the gym every day, write a novel, start a business, wake up at 5 a.m. But what happens when that feeling fades? The truth is, motivation is fleeting. It comes and goes like a wave. You can't control when it will show up or how long it will last. That's why if your success relies on motivation, your progress will always be unstable. Some days you'll feel unstoppable. Other days you won't even start. Consistency, on the other hand, is reliable. It doesn't rely on how you feel. It's about showing up, especially when you don't feel like it. And that's where real growth happens. Let's use an example. Imagine two people trying to get in shape. The first one works out only when they feel inspired, maybe once a week, or maybe not at all when they're tired or busy. The second one commits to 20 minutes a day, 5 days a week, no matter what. Over time, who do you think sees better results? The consistent person wins every single time. Consistency doesn't mean perfection. You'll still miss days. Life will get in the way, but consistent people bounce back fast. They've built a routine, not just a goal. They've made their habit part of who they are, not just something they do when life is easy. There's a reason why professional athletes, artists, writers, and entrepreneurs emphasize the importance of consistency. It builds discipline, it creates momentum, it turns difficult tasks into automatic behaviors. Think about brushing your teeth. You don't wait until you're excited to do it. You just do it. It's a non-negotiable part of your day. That's the level of consistency you want with your goals, turning them into automatic actions that don't require decision, making, or emotion. So how do you become more consistent? 1. Start small. Don't aim for big, dramatic changes. Aim for something so simple it's hard to say no. Want to build a writing habit? Start with just 5 minutes a day. Want to exercise? Try 10 push-ups. Small steps feel doable, and they're more likely to stick. 2. Use a system, not willpower. Create routines that support your goals. Use reminders, to-do lists, habit trackers. Prepare in advance. Structure beats strength of will every time. 3. Track your progress. There's power in seeing your progress stack up. Use a calendar, app, or journal to mark each day you show up. It builds a sense of pride and helps you avoid breaking the chain. 4. Make it part of your identity. When you believe, I'm someone who never misses a workout, it becomes much harder to skip. You're no longer just trying. You're simply living your identity. 5. Remove decision fatigue. Plan your habits in advance. Set a specific time and place. Don't leave it to chance or when you feel like it. The less you have to think, the more likely you are to follow through. In the end, consistency is what builds real results. It's not sexy, it's not flashy, but it works. Even if you're moving slowly, if you stay consistent, you will get there. Motivation may start the journey, but consistency is what finishes it. Before you can change anything in your life, your habits, your mindset, your results, you must first become aware of what's actually happening. That's why awareness is the starting point of all lasting transformation. Without it, you're just guessing. With it, you're in control. Most of our daily habits happen on autopilot. We wake up, reach for our phones, scroll through social media, skip breakfast, complain, rush, snack, scroll again, go to bed late, and repeat. These patterns may feel normal, but they aren't conscious choices. They're automatic behaviors programmed by repetition and environment. That's where awareness becomes your superpower. When you start paying attention to your actions, really paying attention, you begin to notice patterns you've never seen before. You realize you check your phone 40 times a day. You realize you eat not because you're hungry, but because you're stressed. You realize your quick breaks turn into 2-hour distractions. These moments of awareness create space between impulse and action. And in that space is the power to choose differently. Let's say you want to improve your health. If you aren't aware of what you're currently eating, how you feel after meals, how often you skip workouts, or how late you stay up, then any change you try to make is built on a weak foundation. You're solving a problem you haven't clearly defined. But when you start logging your meals, tracking your sleep, or reflecting on your mood each day, patterns emerge. You gain insight. That's where the real work begins. You're no longer reacting blindly. You're responding intelligently. Here are a few practical ways to build awareness. 1. Journaling. Writing down your thoughts, habits, emotions, and reflections daily helps you process your behavior and identify patterns. Even just a few sentences a day can offer huge insights into your triggers, wins, and weak spots. 2. Habit tracking. Use a simple calendar, notebook, or app to mark whether you completed a specific habit each day, like meditating, working out, or reading. Over time, this visual data shows you how consistent or inconsistent you are. 3. Mindfulness practice. Spending just 5 minutes a day in stillness, focusing on your breath, teaches you to slow down and observe your thoughts without judgment. This sharpens your ability to catch yourself in the moment and make more conscious choices. 4. Ask why. Often when you catch yourself in a habit, pause and ask, why am I doing this right now? Are you eating because you're hungry or bored? Are you scrolling because you're curious or avoiding something? This self-inquiry is powerful. 5. Review weekly. Take 10-15 minutes each week to look back. What habits worked? What triggered you? What needs adjusting? This review process keeps you intentional and accountable. Here's what's important to remember. Awareness is not about shame, it's about clarity. You're not judging yourself for your habits, you're observing them. You're learning how your mind works, how your environment influences you, and what needs to change. In fact, most people don't fail because they lack effort. They fail because they lack insight. They keep trying to try harder, when what they really need is to see clearer. And the clearer you see, the easier it becomes to shift your habits in the right direction. Ultimately, awareness is the gateway to personal power. Once you can see the problem, you can solve it. Once you know what you're doing and why, you can change direction with intention, not just hope. So before you try to fix your habits, pause, watch yourself, learn, reflect, because without awareness, there is no lasting change. But with it, you unlock the key to transformation. One of the most powerful aspects of habit change is this: one small positive habit doesn't just improve one area of your life, it often triggers improvements across many others. Like ripples in a pond, good habits spread far beyond their starting point. This is known as the ripple effect, and it can transform your life more quickly and holistically than you might imagine. Let's begin with a simple example. Suppose you start exercising for just 20 minutes a day. At first, it seems like the only benefit is improved fitness, but what often happens next? You start sleeping better, you crave healthier foods. Your mood lifts, your confidence grows, you become more focused at work. Your relationships improve because you're less stressed. All of this flows from one small habit. That's the magic of the ripple effect. It's indirect, yet incredibly impactful. This idea is closely related to what psychologists call keystone habits. A keystone habit is a behavior that, once established, automatically leads to the development of other good habits. It acts as a foundation. Charles Duhigg, author of The Power of Habit, found that people who adopt keystone habits, like regular exercise, journaling, or planning their day, often experience reaching improvements in areas they weren't even targeting. Here are a few examples of how positive habits create ripple effects in real life. 1. Exercise. Starting a basic fitness routine does more than build strength. It improves mental clarity, reduces anxiety, helps regulate sleep, encourages healthier eating, and increases your sense of discipline and routine. 2. Reading daily. Even just 10 minutes of reading a day can expand your knowledge, improve focus, reduce screen time, enhance creativity, and even improve your communication skills, because better input leads to better output. 3. Morning routines. Waking up earlier and following a structured morning routine helps you feel in control. It reduces morning chaos, improves productivity, builds confidence, and sets a positive tone for the entire day. 4. Meditation or mindfulness. Practicing mindfulness, even for 5 minutes, can improve emotional regulation, deepen self-awareness, lower stress, and help you respond calmly to triggers. Over time, this can positively affect your work, relationships, and health. 5. Gratitude journaling. Writing down what you're thankful for each day boosts optimism, improves sleep, strengthens relationships, and even increases your likelihood of pursuing goals with greater enthusiasm. The power of ripple effects lies in the fact that you don't need to fix everything at once. Start small, choose one habit, master it, then observe how it naturally begins to shift other areas of your life. Why does this work? Because habits shape your identity, and identity shapes behavior. When you begin seeing yourself as someone who exercises, reads, or practices gratitude, you naturally want to make choices that align with that identity in other parts of life. You begin to act like a healthy, organized, or mindful person because you're becoming one. That shift is incredibly motivating. Instead of trying to force change through discipline alone, you create an upward spiral where progress fuels motivation, which fuels more progress. It's important to note that the ripple effect also works in the opposite direction. Negative habits, like poor sleep, constant social media use, or procrastination, can spread and damage multiple areas of your life without you even realizing it. That's why building just one positive habit can be a turning point. It's a signal to yourself, I'm taking back control. In conclusion, never underestimate the power of a single habit. You don't need to be perfect or overhaul your life overnight. Focus on one small, consistent change, and watch how it sparks unexpected and far-reaching growth. One good habit can change everything.